Okay, so what I've done is I've trimmed that around, and remember the bed's going to be moved back. It's not the exact same line as the one below. Since this one's up higher, I kind of took it in a little bit further, because I can always cut this one back further too. But once I end up putting this other board here and smoothing this out, I think it'll be okay. But I can always trim this back further. But anyway, this big one up here, I wanted to make sure I really kind of rounded it off some more. I left the gap over here. Jigsawed this over here against this wall, and sorry. So anyhow, jigsawed that against that wall. It doesn't have to be exact. Obviously, it's not. But anyway, this is the distance out that requires for the to be out flush with the filing cabinet. So, oh man. So filing cabinet will sit on there. We'll go up between those. We'll put a top shelf on up there. I went and got some more L's from the hardware store. So now I'm kind of just sitting here trying to sort out what exactly I've even thought about taking this up another bolt hole, because if I took it up another bolt hole, ironically, then I could fit things like the floor jack and different things, slide it in there on its side and not remove it from its box. So I'm debating doing that, even raising that up another hole. And if I raise that up another hole, then all I'd have to do up here is just raise that up another hole. But I'm just in debate if that's what I want to do or not. I'm not sure. Not sure yet what I'm doing with that, because I can also just always set the floor jack. I can always just take the floor jack out of its box and just sit it on the shelf and create a little stopper for it, and just figure out a convenient place to put the two little poles that go with the floor jack and just not have it in the box. But I don't know. I can always put it underneath the bed. I can always, there's a bunch of things you can do with the floor jack. So I'm really up in debate right now what I want to do here as far as height on the shelf goes. But anyhow, so you put this through here, you put a little build up block on there, then you have a big flat piece that attaches to that block, and that flat piece sits on top of this handle, okay? And then, so you'd have a gap between the flat piece and this other piece of wood. There's a gap in between, so you could build, we'll call that the female, you could build a male stub on that wall that you slide it up against, and you drop a pin down through it. Okay, now the only problem with that is when you go to open up the filing cabinet drawer, okay, that male stub would hit the file cabinet drawer, right? Is what I'm thinking. So I'm trying to figure out another way to have it where the male stub is here, because the file cabinet can only open up until it hits here. So may as well set the male stud over here, and then so I'd have to build this out this way, attach a piece on here this way, and then that flat plank would also come here, and then you just drop the pin down through the male stud, and now you've got I'm thinking that might be the way to do it. And then the gas can sitting on top would keep the pin down, and then you just put a strap around the gas can on top, and because ultimately what it all boils down to is the gas can just needs to stay against the wall. It needs to stay, the filing cabinet is going to keep the gas can from going that way. The strap is going to keep the gas can against the wall. So the gas can can't move because it's hitting against here. Gas can can't move because it's hitting against the file cabinet. Gas can just has to be kept against the wall, you see? So if you put the male stud in there, you could even go so far as to put a little ledge on this plank thing that I'm talking about, that would also keep it tied in. But understand this thing's going to want to clock. If it's attached to that pin over there, it's going to want to clock if it gets pulled out. So the big goal is just to strap the gas can in. So I'm just going to create anchor points for straps and do it that way. And then I've got the gas cans. Right now I'm just using a scrap piece of wood underneath here just to fill in the gap right now, and I've got it only mounted by this one screw point. So it'll actually kind of swivel around right now, kind of show you what I got here. Ultimately, whatever piece of wood I end up using here, I can either run the screw up from underneath, or I can just run a screw right here through the side and tie it in. I'll probably end up running the screw up underneath. But I'm just using this right now because I don't know what I'm doing with this other board yet. I got to jigsaw out spots on another board and set another board in there. The other thing I did was I ended up swapping these L's to be further out on the top side than they are on the bottom side. So I pushed the bottom ones back in because this bottom one was sticking out. I pushed it back in and brought this L here to the top. And so again, I'd put the little stilt here to support this. So you're putting the weight of this onto this L. So, and that L. So these two L's down here on the bottom, plus the L on the top and the stilt. So you basically have 4 L's worth of strength holding up this top board. You got the 2 bottom L's, and you would have the top L plus, okay, so 3 L's worth of strength, okay, if that makes sense. When it's all said and done, is holding that top board, even though there's only 1 L holding the top board. If you put the stilt up, now you've got 3 L's worth of strength holding that top board. And I think that's going to be plenty, because again, the file cabinet, it's just sitting down, pushing down right here, as long as it's kept, tight to held up at the top by its tensions holding it in up there. So at that point, all the weight is just on this L and this stilt. And I think that works. If I wanted to, I could run a metal beam across from here to here. Like I have these just random beams, stuff like this. Okay, I could get one that reaches from there to there, and then I could just run another L up from that metal beam. But I've got to keep it over a notch because the gas tank had to fit in here to keep it all nice and neat. So that's going to take care of the weight on that wheel, so that wheel doesn't spin anymore. Should do a pretty good job. Plus I'll build one of those overhead compartments again, like I have over here. I'm going to build it up here. And yeah, so that's that. That's what I'm doing. I need to add a 3rd L down there, which I bought. I just haven't hooked it up yet. So I don't want to put it up until I have the board there, because I've already hit the side of my head on one of these fucking things, and I'm really lucky I didn't cut my fucking head open, because it was no joke. I turned my head into it in my temple. And anyhow, so what's that? So I just gotta figure out now. Probably end up putting the file cabinet back up there now and seeing what's going on. I don't have anything holding that board down. It's just sitting there freelancing, but the weight of the file cabinet should hold everything down. So anyway, just another stupid update. See ya.